My vegan lasagna recipe is so delicious and it's completely dairy-free. I'm Justin from Cooking with Coit. I specialize in clean comfort cooking. And remember, if you love this video, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Let's get started. Let's first go over all the ingredients you need to make this recipe. Lasagna noodles, spinach, olive oil, mushrooms, nutritional yeast, marinara sauce, raw cashews, garlic, onion, lemon juice, and salt and pepper. And the two pieces of special cooking equipment you're gonna need for this recipe are a baking dish and a large pot. All right guys, so the first step in this recipe is actually the one you need to do a day before you cook it, and that is to soak 2 cups of raw cashews in water overnight. It's gotta be at least 8 hours. Maybe you could get away with like 6 or 7, but I always do 8. I fill the bowl pretty much almost all the way up to the top with water, and then I put it in the fridge. You might have seen a lot of vegan recipes use soaked cashews, and the reason why is because they add just a ton of amazing creaminess to whatever you put them in. When you think of a traditional lasagna, you think about it's so creamy and it's so delicious and cheesy. With vegan recipes, soaked cashews are really the key. Now I'm gonna go ahead and drain and rinse these cashews and get them ready for the rest of the recipe. All right, so now we're gonna set these cashews aside, and next we're going to be working on prepping our veggies. So we're going to dice up 1 small onion. This onion is a little bigger than a small onion, so I'll probably just use 3/4 of it. Mince 2 cloves of garlic. Now I'm gonna go ahead and chop up our mushrooms. I'm using Baby Bella's. It's just a mushroom that I think really works very well. Now, as you can tell, I've already bought these Baby Bella mushrooms pre-sliced. It's a little bit of a cheat. Probably should have just got the whole ones and then cut them up myself, but I didn't. I want to save a little bit of time. So it doesn't matter if you get sliced or whole. You're gonna do the same thing to them. Just give them a good chop. All right guys, let me show you the size of the mushroom pieces that I'm gonna be using. So it's roughly, this is like a really nice size. And keep in mind, mushrooms always shrink up when they cook. All right guys, so now that we have our veggies prepped, we're just gonna set them aside for the time being, and now we're gonna work on our vegan ricotta, and so this is where the cashews come in. So take your 2 cups of soaked cashews and put them into your blender. Then we're gonna add 3/4 of a cup of water, and it can be just room temperature water, it doesn't have to be any specific temperature. Add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is another one of those vegan secrets that adds a ton of creaminess to whatever you're gonna make with it. Now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Oh, geez. I always spill. You know what? My pores aren't confident. If you have confident pores, oh, I'm still spilling. Whatever, a little extra lemon juice won't hurt. Add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Let's pop the top on the blender, and we are going to blend this until it's smooth. Hang on. And it does really help to have a nice high-powered blender for this. The soaked cashews will be softened, of course, but you do need a strong blender to really make it like super pulverized and very smooth. All right, and let me show you guys the result. This is what your vegan ricotta should look like. I always freak out at how amazing it is that you can add such incredible creaminess to a vegan recipe. I mean, let me show you guys, like, look at that. I mean, that looks exactly like dairy-based ricotta cheese. It's incredible. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is to boil our lasagna noodles. My recipe is slightly annoying, and I apologize. I call for 1/2 to 2/3 of a box of lasagna noodles. Of course, this all depends on what is the size of the baking dish that you're gonna use. So I'm gonna cook 2/3 of this box of lasagna noodles. All you have to do is just drop them in. Well, you could use a broken one if you want. What I like to do is to fan them out a little bit so that they're not sitting on top of each other like this, because that's gonna give them much more of a likelihood of sticking together. So just rotate them as you drop them in. So you always need to check the package instructions when you're cooking pasta. This box says cook them from anywhere between 9 and 11 minutes, so that's what we're gonna do. All right guys, so now we're gonna move on to cooking our veggies. We're first gonna start by adding a little bit of olive oil into the pan. A tablespoon should work. And then we are going to drop in our diced onions from earlier. You know what I really need to buy? One of those, I don't even know the name. You guys gotta help me out in the comments here. It's that scoopy thing, like when you cut a lot of veggies and then you just scoop them up, like with this flat metal thing, and you just drop it in. Can somebody please tell me what the name of that tool is? Because I keep forgetting to look on Amazon for it, and I don't even know what it's called, so please let me know in the comments below. All right, so we're going to cook these onions until they've turned slightly translucent. Guys, I almost totally forgot to tell you to add a little bit of salt. So just add a little bit of salt to these onions while they're cooking, and it's gonna help really bring out all of that great onion flavor. Add our chopped mushroom. We're gonna saute this mushroom with the onions for anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes until the mushrooms have softened. Add our minced garlic from earlier. We are only gonna be sauteing this garlic with the onions and mushrooms until it has become fragrant. It should be just about a minute. Now there is nothing, I don't know if there's a better smell in the whole world. Maybe bacon's a better smell, but there's no other better smell in the world than mushrooms, onion, and garlic. If you know what I mean and you've made it before, please let me know in the comments below, because it is incredible. All right guys, so this may be the most annoying part of this recipe, and I apologize for this. So this is not my fault. I did not create the fact that spinach cooks down so small. My recipe calls for 5 cups, which is just so much. So, I mean, it's really like 5 big handfuls. If your pan is a little bit on the smaller side, you might have to do this in batches, but you really do need 5 cups because it does cook down so small. So we're gonna let the spinach and all the other veggies just cook together until each batch of spinach has wilted. All right guys, so these veggies are totally done. So now we're gonna take them off the heat and set them aside. Just for reference though, really quick, this was a pound and I used probably 80% of it. So that gives you an idea of how much you're gonna need for this recipe. My noodles just finished, so I need to go ahead and drain and rinse those, and I'll be right back. All right guys, so I actually changed my mind. I am not going to drain and rinse these, but I am going to grab out a baking sheet just like this, and I'm going to take these noodles and just lay them out flat on the baking sheet, just like so. This is going to allow the noodles to cool so that you don't burn your hands as you're forming the lasagna. All right guys, so now we are going to move on to the most fun part of this recipe. Finally, we are going to start assembling the vegan lasagna. So grab out your baking dish. We're first gonna add a layer of marinara sauce right to the bottom of the dish. And the reason why we do this is so that the noodles don't stick to the baking dish. So there's no exact amount that you need to add. Just add enough so that the bottom is lightly covered, and then spread it around. Next, we are going to add our first layer of lasagna noodles. And if you are using a 9 by roughly 13-inch baking dish like I am, the noodles should fit perfectly. Okay, now we are going to add another layer of marinara sauce. Just a nice light layer is totally fine. You have to be careful with recipes like this not to overuse your ingredients at the very beginning because you might run out towards the end. So just go a little bit light on them. Now we're going to move on to adding our cooked veggies. So just add a nice scoop onto all of the lasagna noodles. I'm going to do 2 full layers of lasagna noodles. The way I'm thinking about this is that it's really about half the amount of veggie mixture on the bottom, and it's gonna be half amount of the veggie mixture on top. Thinking like that will really help you to make sure that you don't run out of your ingredients before you finish. Okay, next we're gonna add our vegan ricotta that we made earlier. So just grab it out just like this. And again, you probably wanna use roughly about half on this first layer. For the last step on this bottom layer, we're gonna take a little bit of our vegan mozzarella. This vegan mozzarella is actually made from cashews, so you can see how amazing cashews are. So I just like to add a little bit of sprinkle, just like this. Now this is completely to taste. However much you wanna add, you go right ahead. Next, we're gonna move on to the second layer, and we're gonna do exactly the same thing we did. We're gonna add a layer of lasagna noodles, then sauce, then veggie mixture, then vegan ricotta, and we're gonna top it off with vegan mozzarella. So it's right about now that I realized I completely forgot to remind you to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you haven't done so, please do that now. I apologize, I literally saw it on my notes for this recipe, and I was like, tell him to preheat the oven, tell him to preheat the oven. And I, of course, just start the video and I completely forget. Next thing we're gonna do is to cover our lasagna in foil. And what that's going to allow the lasagna to do is to melt the cheese as much as possible. And when I say as much as possible, what I mean is vegan cheese does not melt like dairy cheese. It just doesn't. I'm not a vegan eater all the time. I do like to eat vegan, you know, maybe like once or twice a week. I feel like I gotta be honest about that. You're never gonna get a super melted, very like super melty vegan cheese look on this vegan lasagna. It's gonna melt nicely, but it's not gonna be the same as the other one. So just like start fresh. If you've never made a vegan lasagna before, just like wipe all your lasagna memories out of your mind and just like take it as it comes. Now we're gonna pop this in the oven and cook for 25 minutes. All right guys, the 25-minute timer just finished. Let's take a look and see how we're doing. Ooh, all right. It's looking really good, and it's actually looking more melty than I thought it would. So now we're gonna keep the top off and we're gonna let it bake uncovered for another 5 minutes. All right guys, the last 5 minutes just finished. Let's see how we did. All right, this looks so incredible. Now, as you guys can see, the cheese melted, but it doesn't like fully melt like a traditional dairy cheese, but it still looks amazing and it smells amazing, and I cannot wait to give it a try. But before I do, if you love this recipe and you wanna see more just like it, check out my healthy recipes playlist. Okay, let's give this a try. Now, I haven't let this cool properly, so it's probably gonna burn my mouth, but this vegan lasagna. Honestly, guys, I am a traditional lasagna guy. I don't eat a ton of vegan food, but this tastes incredible. You have to give this a try. I'll see you in the next video.